Welcome back. We're now on stage 18. First, make sure you've got the parts open. So we have stage 17 open. We've got the small bush, we've got the half bevel gear, we've got the friction pin with long axle, and we've got the tail rotor. First, we're just going to make that small sub-assembly. So I'm going to go to the tail rotor part, and then I'm going to go to File, Make Assembly from Part. As usual, I'm going to pin open the Insert Components menu. I'm going to insert that tail rotor part first. Then let's also insert the friction pin with the long axle, and let's also insert that half bevel gear. We can then just make these together. So firstly, I'm going to select this circular face and this one. I'm going to make those concentric. If you find that your pin is the wrong way around, you can just expand the mates. You can right click on the concentric mate and you can press flip mate alignment. At this stage, I'm also going to lock the rotation because it's quite a stiff pin in that hole. And then I'm just going to drag the pin down a bit and make sure that this outer edge is coincident with this outer edge of the rotor. Then let's do something similar with the bevel gear. So let's select a circular edge. You could select one of the internal edges, but they're very small, those circular ones, so it might be easier to select that main outer circle. And then let's choose a circular edge on the axle, and let's make those concentric. And I'm also going to lock the rotation there. Then I'm just going to pull the gear up a bit so we can see the gap in between them. And then what I'm going to do is choose this top face of the rotor here, and then spin around a little bit, and also choose this outer face of that raised part of the gear. And those two should be touching each other, so let's make those coincident. So this is only a very small assembly, and we can now save that, and let's call that stage 18. Then to complete stage 18, let's go back to stage 17, and then let's go to Insert Components, and let's choose that stage 18 that we just made. We can then insert that and spin it around to the correct orientation. And we'll also insert the small bush part. So firstly, I'm going to choose this inner face of the hole, and then a circular face of the axle, and make those concentric. We don't need to lock the rotation because we want the blade to spin around in the hole. I'm then going to choose this face, and just make those coincident so they're touching each other. Then let's add the bush to hold that rotor in place. So let's select this large outer circular face, and also select a circular face on the axle. This concentric mate should be locked because they'll be locked together because of that axle shape. And then for the left-right position, I'm just going to pull it out a little bit. I'm going to make this outer face of the axle and the outer face of the bush coincident. So we do have a little bit of clearance in there, but that will just help the rotor spin around. And you should find that the tail rotor can spin around within that tail rotor housing. And you can then save stage 17. We'll now go directly onto stage 19 because it's a very simple one. We've just got to add this stage 18 to the main assembly. So let's make sure we've got open the main assembly. So for me, I'm going to find that in my recent documents. And then let's go to Insert Components and choose stage 17. Because remember, stage 17 is actually 17 and 18 joined together. So it should look like this. Let's rotate it around so it's in this orientation. We can then fix this tail rotor section in place. So let's rotate around. Let's select this pin at the back, and then let's select that second hole from the back on the main body. And let's make those concentric and lock the rotation so that this doesn't move around. Then in terms of the up-down distance, let's choose this top face of the fairing, and then this bottom face of the beam, and let's make those coincident. So we've now got a tail rotor on our helicopter, and I think this is looking great. At this stage, you'll probably find that you can't spin the tail rotor around, but this is something we'll fix after we've completed the whole assembly. You can now save your main assembly, and in the next section, we'll go on to stage 20, which needs one new part.